Every disease that harms a newborn baby, Sarah's baby also got that disease. People told her many things that could help the baby get better. Sarah tried everything. She gave the baby many medicines, visited many doctors, and spent almost all the money her husband had saved. But instead of getting better, the baby became weaker and weaker. Sarah slowly started to lose hope. Her body became tired and weak because she had no rest. One night she looked at her baby and said with tears in her eyes, "My Lord, my baby is not getting better. Why can't I find a way to save my child? This is my first baby." She prayed again and again every day, but she could not see any change. One afternoon, Sarah looked closely at her baby. The baby was breathing very slowly. It felt like the baby did not have much time left to live. Her heart broke into pieces. With deep pain in her heart, Sarah walked out of the house crying. She did not even know where she was going. She just kept walking and walking. At home, the house helper Sarah had hired from the countryside noticed that Sarah had left. The helper became very scared. She thought that if the baby died while she was there alone, people might blame her. She quickly packed her clothes because she wanted to return to her village. But there was one problem. The baby was still there, very sick, and she did not know how to take care of such a sick child. She also knew something about the neighborhood. The families living there did not like each other. They never helped one another. Everyone kept distance. Still, the helper had no choice. She picked up the baby and walked to the nearest house. It was the house Sarah had always told her to avoid. The helper knocked on the door. An old woman opened the door. The old woman looked at the helper holding the weak baby and asked kindly, "Young girl, what happened?" The helper answered honestly, "Madam, I work in the big house nearby. My boss left and the baby is very sick. I don't know how to take care of him. I am going back to my village. I cannot take someone else's baby with me. Please, I beg you, take care of this baby. If you don't, I will have no choice but to leave the baby here." The old woman looked carefully at the baby. Without saying much, she walked to her small garden behind the house. She picked some herbs she believed could help sick children. She crushed the herbs and made a small herbal medicine. Then she gently gave the medicine to the baby. The baby, who looked close to death, suddenly started moving. A moment later, the baby began to cry loudly. It was the first strong cry the baby had made in days. The old woman quickly warmed some milk and slowly fed the baby with a small cup. Soon after, she quietly left for her village. Some time later, Sarah finally returned home. Her eyes were red from crying. When she entered the house, she noticed the helper was gone, but something shocked her even more. The baby was not there. Her heart started beating very fast as she searched around the house. Then she found a letter on the table. The letter said, "Madam, I could not watch your baby die in front of me. Even you, the baby's mother, could not stay and watch the last moment of your baby. I took the baby to your neighbor, the one you warned me never to visit or speak to. That is where your baby is now. Go there and knock on the door. If the baby is still alive, they will give him to you." Sarah's hands began to shake as she held the letter. The neighbor she hated the most might now be the only person who could save her child. She slowly walked toward that house with fear in her heart. At that moment, she felt stunned and said, "The maid could fire herself, but she would have left my baby to die from here. How can she take my baby there?" Right away, anger filled her heart. She remembered that she and her neighbors never cooperated. They did not greet each other, and they did not help each other. Sarah thought, maybe this is my chance. She wanted someone to blame for the death of her baby. With anger in her heart, Sarah walked quickly to the neighbor's house and knocked hard on the door. The old woman opened the door, but something happened that Sarah did not expect. She saw her baby alive. The baby was even laughing and drinking milk from a small cup. Sarah stood there in shock. She could not speak. She had believed her baby was going to die. But here the baby looked calm and safe in the arms of the old woman. The old woman had already raised children in her life. She understood babies very well. When the maid brought the sick baby, the old woman simply went to her garden, picked some herbs, and made a small herbal medicine. She knew exactly what was hurting the baby, something Sarah and many doctors had failed to understand. Even after spending so much money, Sarah felt small and confused. All her anger disappeared. She just stood there quietly. At that moment, another woman entered the house. It was the old woman's daughter. She looked surprised when she saw Sarah. "Sarah, why are you in our house when I was not around?" she asked. "I hear people saying you do not like me. They say you will never like me, even though I never did anything bad to you. So why are you here? And mother, why are you holding this woman's baby?" The old woman looked at both young women and spoke calmly. "My daughters, whatever problem made you two hate each other will stay between you two. But you must not bring this innocent baby into your problems. This baby knows nothing about your fights. The baby cannot even choose who to call mother, because he is still so small." Her words made the room quiet. Sarah slowly calmed down. Her voice became soft. "Madam," she said gently, "please give me my baby so I can hold him." The old woman carefully gave the baby to Sarah, but the moment Sarah held the baby started crying loudly. The baby pushed and moved as if he did not want to stay in her arms. Sarah felt hurt and confused. "My baby," she said sadly, "do you not want me anymore?" The old woman smiled gently and said, "Babies are like little angels. They cannot speak and they cannot explain what they feel. Sometimes they cry even when we do not understand why." Then she continued, "As you can see, the baby is crying now. But listen to me carefully. I do not know the problems between you and my daughter. That is your matter. But one thing is clear, your maid helped save this baby. She was scared, yes, but because she brought the baby here, the child is still alive today. If she had not done that, the baby might not be alive now." Between laughing and crying, Sarah looked for something to do, but she did not know what to do. The baby she believed was going to die was now alive. The baby was in the house of the neighbor she never cooperated with. The baby looked healthy, peaceful, and there was no sign that he had been sick before. Sarah was deeply shocked. Inside her heart, she started thinking, maybe my maid knew that this was the only house where my baby could be saved. She kept asking herself many questions, but she stayed silent. She just watched the old woman carefully as the woman gently carried the baby and took care of him. The truth was that Sarah did not know how to thank this old woman. She tried to think of words that could show how grateful she was for saving her baby, but no words came to her mind. At that moment, the old woman's daughter returned home again. She stopped at the door when she saw Sarah standing inside the house. She was surprised. This was the same woman who had been telling bad stories about her to many people in the town. The same woman who had blamed her for things she had never done. Still, she stayed quiet for a moment. Then she spoke. "Sarah, why are you here?" she asked. "And how did your baby end up in my mother's arms? My mother is new in this town. If she knew about the problems between you and me, I am sure she would never have accepted to care for your baby." She looked at Sarah with serious eyes. "I do not know what you are planning," she continued, "but I think it is better for you to leave." Before Sarah could answer, the old woman spoke calmly. "My daughters, the fights between you two do not concern this baby," she said gently. "You can talk about your problems another time if you want, but this baby is innocent. I am new in this town, yes, but I can already see that whatever made you hate each other has nothing to do with this child." The daughter sighed and looked at her mother. "Mom, you raised me to be calm and peaceful," she said, "and I have tried to live that way. But I must tell you the truth. Everywhere I go, people tell me that Sarah is speaking bad about me. She tells lies about me that I never did." She then looked directly at Sarah. "Today you are standing in my house," she said. "So today I want the truth. I want you to say everything you have been telling people about me." The room became quiet. Sarah felt her heart beating fast. For the first time, she realized that the baby who was saved might also be the reason she would have to face the truth she had been running away from. "I found you in my home, so today I want you to say everything you have been saying about me behind my back," the daughter said. Sarah took a deep breath and finally spoke. "Madam, my maid was the one who brought the baby here," she said. "Before I gave her the job, she used to bring milk to my house every morning. During that time, she told me many things about you. She told me stories about you again and again. Because of that, I believed everything she said. I even hired her so she could stay close to me." Sarah looked down in shame. "Today she ran away from my house. Not because I chased her, but because she saw me leave my baby at home. I thought my baby was going to die. She did not want to stay and later be blamed for the baby's death." As they were talking and questioning Sarah, suddenly they heard someone knocking on the door. The old woman went outside and asked, "Who is knocking?" A weak voice answered. "It was the maid." She said softly, "I am the one who brought the baby here. I was going back to my village, but on the way I started thinking. I realized that maybe where I left the baby was not the right place, because my boss does not like this house." The old woman looked at her with calm eyes and asked, "What did we ever do to make her hate us?" The maid lowered her head sadly. "I am sorry," she said. "When I was looking for a job, I spoke bad things about this house. I said those lies so Sarah would trust me and give me work. I wanted to get closer to her, so I made up stories that were not true." The old woman gently held the maid's hand and brought her inside the house. But the moment the maid entered, she froze in shock. The woman she had been lying about was standing right there, and she had heard everything. The maid felt deep shame. She quickly fell on her knees and cried. "Please forgive me," she said. Sarah then spoke calmly. "I am not the one you should ask for forgiveness," she told the maid. "You must ask these two women. If they forgive you, then you can return to my house and continue working. But if they do not forgive you, do not come back to my house unless they say they have forgiven you for the lies you told me." Sarah then looked at the old woman and her daughter. "I was angry with you for a long time," she said honestly. "We never cooperated with each other, but now I see the truth. There was never a real reason for us to hate each other. The hate between us came from the bad words she told me." The room became quiet. Three women stood there, all realizing how powerful lies can be and how much damage a few false words can cause. But at the same time, they also saw something else. A baby who had almost died had become the reason the truth finally came out. Lies can separate people, but truth and kindness can bring them back together.